700 armed men, half the police force of America's second-largest city, 3,000 pairs of eyes on every street corner, every alley, every stairwell, bought and paid for with bootleg whiskey money. And somewhere inside that web sits one man who owns it all. Not a king, not a general, a 29-year-old kid from Brooklyn who turned Chicago into his personal empire. His name is Alphonse Gabriel Capone, and tonight, 30 men from the future are going to try to take him. February 1929. Chicago, Illinois. The temperature outside is 9 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind off Lake Michigan cuts through brick and bone alike. Inside a rented office on the 6th floor of a building at the corner of 22nd and Wabash, 200 meters from the Lexington Hotel, a man in a wool overcoat pulls a Flyar thermal imager from a leather briefcase that looks like it belongs in 1929. It does not. Nothing about these men belongs in 1929. The thermal display lights up. 12 floors of the Lexington Hotel glow with heat signatures. The man counts. 4th floor, 14 bodies. Lobby, 9. Basement level, 3, maybe 4. He keys his bone conduction mic. The signal travels through an encrypted frequency that won't exist for another 80 years. Warhorse, this is Overwatch. Pattern of life confirmed. Jackpot is on 4. Dinner in 40 minutes. We are go. This is not a kill mission. That would be easy. A suppressed rifle from this window. 1 round, 1 second. Done. But killing Al Capone is not the objective. Capturing him alive, pulling him out of a building surrounded by armed gangsters, through a city where the police work for him, past lookouts on every block. That is the mission. And they have 4 hours to do it. Here is what you need to understand about Chicago in February of 1929. This is not a normal American city. This is a city at war. 6 days ago, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 7 men were lined up against a brick wall at 2122 North Clark Street and executed with Thompson submachine guns. The shooters wore police uniforms. They were not police. The order came from one man, Capone. He was in Miami at the time. He made sure of that. The target was George Bugs Moran, leader of the North Side Gang, Capone's last serious rival. Moran arrived late. He survived. The 7 men in that garage did not. The city is in shock. The newspapers are screaming. And Capone, back in Chicago now, untouchable as ever, sits in the Lexington Hotel like a Roman emperor in his palace, holding court on the 4th floor while the city burns around him. The Lexington Hotel is a 12-story brick building at 2135 South Michigan Avenue. It was built in 1892. By 1928, Capone has turned it into something between a fortress and a throne room. He occupies multiple suites on the 4th and 5th floors. The hallways are patrolled by armed men, not amateurs, not street thugs, but experienced gunmen. Men like Frank Rio, his personal bodyguard, who once shielded Capone with his own body during an assassination attempt at the Hawthorne Hotel in Cicero. Men like Phil DeAndrea, who carries a pistol into courtrooms. Men like Jack McGurn, Machine Gun Jack, the man most historians believe planned the Valentine's Day massacre itself. On any given night, the Lexington has between 15 and 25 armed men inside. Lookouts sit in parked cars on Michigan Avenue. Others watch from the lobby of the Metropole Hotel across the street, Capone's former headquarters. The Chicago Police Department has roughly 12,000 officers in 1929. Estimates vary, but federal investigators later concluded that between 1/4 and 1/3 of them were receiving regular payments from Capone's organization. That is 3,000 to 4,000 police officers who will not help you, who will, in fact, warn Capone if anything looks wrong. And it gets worse. Capone does not just own cops. He owns aldermen. He owns judges. He owns the mayor's office in Cicero. He has informants in the telephone exchange, meaning if you make a call in Chicago, someone in his network might hear it. He has runners, Kids, 12 and 13 years old, watching the streets around the Lexington 24 hours a day. You cannot drive a car down Michigan Avenue without someone writing down your license plate. Now think about this for a second. Every military operation in history has an assumption baked into it, that the local government is either friendly, neutral, or at least not actively working for the target. In Chicago in 1929, that assumption is dead. The city itself is hostile territory. Every uniform is suspect. Every phone is tapped. Every stranger on the street is reported within minutes. This is not a building you are breaching. It is an entire city you are operating inside, and the city has an immune system designed to protect one man. So how do you do it? How do you capture the most protected gangster in American history in a city where every system, police, courts, communications, even the kids on the corner, works for him? You cheat. You bring 30 men from the future, and you use something that does not exist yet, something Capone could never anticipate. Never bribe, never buy. The team is 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. 30 operators. Average age 31. Every man has a minimum of 4 combat deployments. They have trained for hostage rescue in urban environments more complex than this. Mogadishu, Fallujah, Mosul. But Chicago in 1929 presents a problem none of those cities did. In Mogadishu, the enemy wore no uniform. In Chicago, the enemy wears a badge. Equipment has been adapted. Over their body armor, lightweight level 3A Kevlar, rated to stop, 45 ACP, which is the dominant caliber of this era. They wear period-appropriate clothing, wool suits, fedora hats, overcoats. The Kevlar adds 14 pounds under fabric that was never designed to hide it. Every operator carries a suppressed Sig Sauer P226 loaded with subsonic 9mm rounds. No muzzle flash visible to the naked eye. Noise signature under 130 decibels, quieter than a car door slamming. 6 operators carry suppressed HK MP7 submachine guns in modified violin cases. The irony is not lost on anyone. Communications run through bone conduction headsets, hidden under hat brims and coat collars. Encrypted. Frequency hopping. Invisible to 1929 technology, because the technology to detect them will not be invented for another 50 years. 2 RQ-11 Raven drones, small enough to be mistaken for birds at altitude, circle the Lexington Hotel at 800 feet. Too high for anyone on the street to notice. Their cameras feed thermal and optical imagery to a tablet inside the observation post. The operators can see through walls. They can count heartbeats. They can watch Capone eat dinner from 200 meters away and read the heat signature of the cigar in his hand. But the real advantage is not hardware. It is knowledge. These men have read every biography written about Capone. Jonathan Aig's Get Capone, Deirdre Baer's Al Capone, Lawrence Burr Green's Capone. They know things that no one alive in 1929 knows. They know the layout of the tunnel system beneath the Lexington Hotel. They know it because in April of 1986, 57 years from now, a television host named Geraldo Rivera will broadcast a live special called The Mystery of Al Capone's Vault. 30 million Americans will watch. The vault will be mostly empty, but the excavation will reveal something far more valuable than cash or bones. It will reveal the tunnels, passageways running from the basement of the Lexington to adjacent buildings, escape routes, supply lines for illegal liquor. Capone used them. His men used them. In 1929, their existence is one of the most closely guarded secrets of the organization. In the future, they are in history books, floor plans, architectural surveys from the hotel's demolition in 1995. And the operators know one more thing. They know Capone's routine. Not guesses, not surveillance estimates. Facts written down by the people who were there. Every Friday night, Capone dines in the 4th-floor restaurant of the Lexington. A private table, 4 bodyguards in the room, 2 more outside the door. After dinner, typically between 9:30 and 10, He takes the service elevator to the basement level, where he keeps a private office. The office is where the real business happens. Cash counting, orders. The Friday night descent takes roughly 15 minutes from table to basement. During those 15 minutes, he is between floors. The fourth floor security has relaxed because he has left. The basement security has not yet fully activated because he has not arrived. 15 minutes. That is the window. The plan is built around those 15 minutes. 3 teams, 3 objectives, 1 timeline. Stay with me. This is where it gets interesting. Day 1, Friday. The operation begins 14 hours before the capture window. At 0700, Team Charlie, 8 operators, positions 3 vehicles along pre-planned extraction routes. A 1928 Cadillac sedan, modified internally with steel plates in the doors. A delivery truck with a concealed compartment. A third car parked in an alley off 21st Street, 3 blocks from the Lexington. Each vehicle has a 2-man crew. They look like drivers. They read newspapers. They smoke cigarettes. They wait. At 1100 hours, Team Bravo, 10 operators, begins filtering into the neighborhood. They arrive on foot, alone or in pairs, over a period of 3 hours. They are dressed as laborers, salesmen, a priest. One carries a toolbox, another pushes a cart. They take positions covering every exit of the Lexington Hotel. 2 cover the main entrance on Michigan Avenue. 2 cover the service entrance on the south side. 2 cover the alley behind the building. 4 position themselves at intersections within a 1-block radius, watching for Capone's lookouts, the runners, the parked cars, the cops who walk too slowly past the hotel. Bravo's job is containment. No one enters or leaves the perimeter without them knowing. And if the operation goes loud, they are the wall between the capture team and the city. At 1700, Team Alpha, 12 operators, the assault element, enters the tunnel system. The entry point is a basement door in a building on 22nd Street, 90 meters south of the Lexington. The building is a former warehouse. In 1929, it stores bootleg Canadian whiskey. The lock on the basement door is a 5-pin tumbler. It takes the point man 4 seconds to pick it. Inside, the tunnel is narrow. Brick walls, damp, water on the floor, 2 inches deep in places. The air smells like mold and old concrete and something chemical that might be spilled alcohol. In the green glow of their NVGs, the operators move in single file. Rats cross the floor ahead of them. On the thermal display, each rat is a small white blaze against the cold stone. The tunnel runs north for 60 meters, then turns east, then north again. 210 meters total from entry to the basement of the Lexington Hotel. They reach the Lexington basement at 1745. They hold. 12 men in the dark, breathing recycled air, weapons up. Above them, through 8 feet of concrete and old timber, they can hear the muffled thump of jazz music. A speakeasy operates on the first floor. It is early. The crowd is thin. By 9 o'clock, it will be full. That helps. Noise covers movement. At 2100 hours, the Raven drones confirm the pattern. Capone is at his table, 4th floor. Thermal shows 6 bodies in the private dining room. Capone's heat signature is distinct. He is larger than the others. He weighs 250 pounds in 1929. He is easy to identify even through walls. 21:15. Capone finishes eating. He stands. 2 bodyguards stand with him. They move toward the service elevator. This is it. All teams, all teams. Jackpot is moving. Execute. 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 Alpha splits. 8 operators move up the basement stairwell toward the service elevator landing. 4 remain in the basement to secure the exfiltration route. The stairwell is dark. Their NVGs turn it into a green tunnel of cracked plaster and iron railings. 2nd floor. A door opens. A man steps out. Hotel staff, carrying dishes. He sees shapes in the dark. He opens his mouth. He does not scream. An operator is on him in less than a second. Hand over mouth, zip ties. The man is placed in a closet. 3 seconds lost. They reach the service corridor between the first and second floors. Above them, the elevator machinery groans. Capone is descending. 21:19. They are in position. 4 operators stack on the elevator doors at the basement level. 2 cover the corridor north. 2 cover south. The elevator stops. The doors open. The light inside is yellow and warm. Capone stands in the center, overcoat on, cigar in his left hand. Frank Rio is on his right, Phil D'Andrea on his left. A third bodyguard, unnamed in the histories, stands behind. For 1/2 second, nothing happens. Capone sees shapes, dark shapes, not his men. His eyes widen. Rio's hand moves toward his waistband. The first flashbang detonates. 180 decibels, 1 million candela. In a closed elevator shaft in 1929, it is the most disorienting thing any human being alive has ever experienced. Rio drops. D'Andrea drops. Capone staggers against the back wall, hands over his ears. The cigar falls. 2 operators are inside the elevator before the flash fades. D'Andrea is zip-tied face down. Rio is zip-tied and disarmed. A Colt .38 taken from his waistband. Capone is pulled to the floor. He is shouting. He does not understand what is happening. No one in 1929 would understand what just happened. Jackpot secured. Moving to tunnel. 21:20. 60 seconds since execution. Capone is hooded. Hands bound in front. Nylon flex cuffs, a material that will not be commercially available for another 40 years. He is heavy. 2 operators guide him. He resists. He curses in Italian and English. He is strong, but he is not trained. He is moved. Then the alarm goes off. Not an electronic alarm. A human one. Upstairs, someone noticed. A bodyguard on the 4th floor checks the private dining room and finds it empty. He checks the elevator. It is at basement level. He shouts. The shout carries. Within 90 seconds, 15 armed men are moving toward the basement from 3 different stairwells. Alpha 4, the basement security element, hears them coming. Boots on stairs. Voices. The sound of Thompson submachine guns being racked. In 1929, the Thompson is the weapon of choice. Fires 800 rounds per minute. No suppressor. No optic. Brutal, inaccurate, and loud. If those guns open up in these corridors, the noise will be heard 3 blocks away. Bravo lead. We have 15+ hostiles converging on basement. Exfil route compromised in 3 minutes. Copy. Holding perimeter. Charlie, start engines. Alpha moves fast. Capone is dragged through the basement corridor toward the tunnel entrance. He stumbles. An operator catches him. They are moving at combat speed now. 3 meters per second through a space designed for men carrying whiskey crates, not prisoners. The tunnel mouth is ahead. 40 meters, 30 meters, 20. Behind them, the first Thompson opens up. The sound in the basement is catastrophic. A roar that bounces off concrete and brick and fills every space. Rounds chew into the wall 6 feet behind the last operator. Dust and brick fragments fill the air. The shooters cannot see the team. They are firing at shadows, but they are firing. Contact rear! Moving! The team enters the tunnel. The last 2 operators drop a flashbang behind them and seal the tunnel entrance with a steel bar that takes 12 seconds to place. It will hold for maybe 4 minutes. Enough. In the tunnel, Capone is silent now. The hood over his face is wet. He is breathing hard. The operators move at a jog, 210 meters. In full kit, guiding a 250-pound man, it takes them 3 minutes and 40 seconds. They emerge into the warehouse basement on 22nd Street. Charlie is waiting. The Cadillac is outside, engine running. And that is when the second problem arrives. The gunfire at the Lexington Hotel was loud. Very loud. In a city this wired, that kind of noise does not go unnoticed. Within 4 minutes, 3 police cars are moving toward the Lexington. 2 of them are Capone's cops. They are coming to help him. But the 3rd car is clean. A genuine patrol responding to gunfire. And Capone's men on the street, the lookouts, the runners, are now fully activated. Phone calls are being made. The immune system of the city is waking up. But here is the thing no one expected. The gunfire also reached other ears. Ears that have been waiting for exactly this kind of chaos. Bugs Moran. 6 days after the Valentine's Day massacre, Moran lost 7 men. He wants blood. He has men watching the Lexington. Not inside, but nearby. When the shooting starts, Moran's crew does not run. They move toward it. 3 cars, 12 men. Thompsons and shotguns. They do not know what is happening inside. They do not care. If Capone is in trouble, that is opportunity. Now the operators face a scenario no briefing prepared for. They are on the street with a hooded, bound prisoner who happens to be the most recognizable man in Chicago. Capone's men are mobilizing from the south. Moran's men are approaching from the north. The police, some corrupt, some genuine, all confused, are converging from the west. The team is caught in a 3-way collision between forces that all want different things. Capone's men want to rescue him. Moran's men want to kill him. The police want to restore order. And the 30 operators just want to get out. Charlie, reroute. Primary extraction is burned. Go to secondary. The Cadillac pulls out of the alley heading east, away from all 3 converging forces. 2 blocks later, a car swerves in front of them. Not police, not Capone, Moran's men. A shotgun barrel extends from the passenger window. The operator driving the Cadillac does not stop. He accelerates. The steel plates in the doors, installed precisely for this scenario, take the shotgun blast. The Cadillac clips the front of Moran's car, spins it 45 degrees, and keeps moving. In the back seat, Capone, still hooded, still bound, is thrown sideways. He does not make a sound. 3 more blocks. A right turn onto State Street. The delivery truck is here, the backup vehicle. The transfer takes 22 seconds. Capone goes into the concealed compartment. The Cadillac is abandoned. The truck moves south toward the edge of the city at exactly the speed limit, 25 miles per hour, invisible. Behind them, the Lexington Hotel is in chaos. Capone's men and Moran's men have found each other in the streets. Shots are fired. 2 men die. Neither belongs to the team. The police arrive in force. They find an empty elevator, zip ties on the floor, a still burning cigar, and a basement that smells like flashbang residue, a chemical odor that no one in 1929 can identify. Al Capone is gone. The truck reaches a farmhouse south of Cicero at 2300 hours. Capone's hood is removed. He blinks in the light of a kerosene lamp. He looks at the men around him. They are dressed like his era. But they move differently. They carry equipment he has never seen. Their eyes have a calm that his men, violent as they are, have never possessed. He speaks. How much? It is the only response he knows. Every problem in his life has had a price. Every man has had a number. He waits for the offer. Nobody answers. The mission is complete. Capone is captured alive. 30 operators, 0 fatalities on the team, 3 wounded, 1 from brick fragments, 2 from the vehicle collision. Total elapsed time from tunnel entry to farmhouse, 5 hours and 26 minutes. But here is the question the mission briefing never addressed. What happens next? What happens to Chicago without Capone? The answer, and the operators know this because they have read the future, is not good. When Capone went to prison in 1931 for tax evasion, the power vacuum lasted years. Frank Nitti took over. The violence did not decrease. The corruption did not end. In some ways it got worse, because Nitti lacked Capone's strange charisma. His ability to keep 100 violent men pointed in the same direction. Without the center, the wheel breaks apart, and the pieces fly everywhere, The FBI understood this. Eliot Ness understood this. That is why they chose the slow path. Not a raid, not a kidnapping, not a bullet. Taxes, paper, accountants. They dismantled the financial structure beneath Capone, and when they finally took him, they took the money too. No vacuum, no succession crisis. Just a man sitting in Alcatraz with syphilis eating his brain, wondering where it all went. The operators captured the man. But they could not capture the system. They could not arrest corruption. They could not zip-tie a culture of fear and bribery that ran through every precinct, every courtroom, every city council meeting in Chicago. Capone was a symptom. The disease was older than he was, and it would survive him. So here is the question for you. 30 of the most capable soldiers in human history walked into 1929 Chicago and pulled it off. They captured Al Capone alive. The plan worked, the technology worked, the intel was perfect. But was it the right move? History chose a different path. History sent accountants, not soldiers. History used tax returns, not flashbangs. It took 2 more years. More people died. Capone stayed free until October of 1931. But when he finally fell, the machine fell with him. Would you have waited? Or would you have sent the team? Could 30 soldiers change a city? Or would the city change them first? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see what happens when the same team goes after a target who fights back, someone with an army, not just gangsters, hit subscribe. Because next time, the target is not sitting in a hotel. The target is riding at the head of 100,000 horsemen, and he knows they are coming. They